Today's video, we're going to talk about PMAX campaigns and how you can actually get a lot more bang for your buck. ROI wise or ROAS wise, which is saying the same thing, specifically through tweaking when your campaigns run, which in and itself is tied to during business hours. You're going to typically get more of a return from PMAX. If you are doing customer service, sales and stuff at your business and not just expecting people to go to your website, without talking to anybody, just buy, which in some businesses that can certainly obviously work. Anything where you're selling something more expensive though, that's not typically a business model that works or works very well. And even if you don't sell something expensive, it still works better if you do. So much so that your business just simply might not work without doing that, which I'll get into on this particular video. But this is going to be information to give you turnkey access to doubling your ROI, or very close to, on the PMAX campaign that you have running now for an e-commerce business. So I'll give you the step-by-step on this, and then with that you have everything you need to walk away from this video with a higher ROI than you're getting, and obviously that could help you out a lot if you're not profitable yet with your campaigns. If you're already making a profit, obviously what you can do is use this information to set up other search campaigns or whatnot that you may not be able to get profitable, which will also be useful to you if those don't get enough ROI. This also kind of applies to that. But with that said, I'll get directly into the content. So if you sell anything over $100, roughly speaking, phone sales are going to be a key part of your e-commerce business. I see a lot of people who want to run e-commerce businesses where they think it's like passive income, where they're going to set up this e-commerce website, they're going to fulfill by Amazon, or they're going to fulfill by a 3PL company which does fulfillment, and they're going to sit on a beach somewhere, and when they need to reorder their products, they're going to get it from the factory, pay somebody to manage the products going from the factory to the warehouse, the 3PL company, and they don't have to do anything. What makes an e-commerce business profitable most of the time, and I see it because I've seen hundreds and hundreds of different e-commerce companies come through my agency here, whether we worked with them or not, I got to see their business model. And I can tell you for a fact, the ones that were people expected to just not talk to people at all and that they just look on the website to buy, those almost never work in terms of trying to get paid ads to be profitable for your business. Why? Because that's a major disadvantage against other people who will do that. Specifically, unless there's nobody in your whole entire niche that does that online. Why? Because it gives you credibility to the customer. You have a phone number, they know if they have a problem with their order, they can call back and they can bitch and they can get a hold of somebody. 2, it just make you look like a more legitimate business in general. 3, when somebody calls, the likelihood that they're going to buy from you is statistically much, much, much higher, to the point where I would say once they call, that person versus the standard user who did not call, you're talking about 10 times the likelihood that they're going to buy at that point in time. And so the reason why people don't have somebody answering the phone, unless they do it themselves, is because it's expensive to hire somebody who knows how to answer the phone and answer customer questions. Relatively speaking, running an e-commerce site's cheap. Hiring somebody to answer the phone effectively, has product knowledge and is an expert, or that you could train up and would actually stay around, is going to be minimum $50,000 a year, if not $100,000 a year. And that takes a big wet bite out of your perceived potential profits, and so people try to side skirt this. And like I said, that would be nice if you could cut that cost out, but the reality is you're just not going to get your campaigns working efficiently enough that it will work at all. So what you got to do if you can't afford that person is you got to be able to do the phone sales. Until you've built that e-commerce business where you're doing a few million a year, and then you hire somebody to answer the phone and pay them enough that they're going to take the job serious enough that you'll have no problem with it. Of course, you can hire an offshore person to answer the phone, and that may work depending on the level of competition in your space. respectively. And with that, by the way, if you hire someone to answer the phone, the problem with it is, it sounds simple at the surface, but you hire that person, if you don't pay them on commission, they're not going to give a shit, they're not going to sell very well. If you do pay them on commission, they're going to oversell it and get you bad reviews. So what we found is the most effective combination would be and when I say we, I also own a few different e-commerce companies myself, also run an ad agency where I do all the client strategy here, where you compensate and give a bonus for sales, phone calls that turn into sales, and have like a minimum quota there as well. But also, if they leave a positive review, they also get a bonus. And then also quota on that as well. Phone calls that do not lead to a positive review, or should I say negative review, we're monitoring that. So essentially, it's almost like when you call a call center and they always have that scoring system after the call. It's very similar to that. That way you get the maximum push on the call without going over the line where you're going to start lying to the customer or overselling it to the point where customers are obviously going to know that you lied to them or seems like you lied to them. So you got to get something like that set up. And of course, it's got to be a halfway decent person. And if your competitors have Americans answer the phone and you're selling to Americans, you can't use Filipinos to answer the phone. It's not going to be good enough, most likely. But anyway, because you've got to realize, if you set up this website, you say, Amazon sucks, I want to sell on my website. What are you doing on your website that's so fundamentally different than the person that can buy a product from your niche or industry on Amazon? On Amazon, there's no customer service. Furthermore, if they go to Walmart, Home Depot, if your product is available there, there's no customer service to speak of. Your edge on your website almost entirely is predicated on your product knowledge that you have and being able to dispense it at your company. Your goal when you're running PMAX campaigns or search campaigns, if you want to add that in there, is to not just get a sale per se. It's to get the person interested enough to call, and then the call does the work, the heavy lifting for you, so to say. So, naturally, if you are an excellent copywriter, you really know how to write sales copywriting in terms of product descriptions and make landing pages and everything else, you could get away with not talking to customers and still make make Google ads and PMAX campaigns profitable. But most people don't have those skills, and the people that you hire that actually have those skills are way too expensive. You can't afford them, practically speaking. They're charging like $300 an hour for copywriting time. And you got to write all the stuff on your site, and you're probably not going to want to do that. So you're stuck with the phone, using the phone to build confidence and trust with the consumer. Anyway, I thought, I'm going to get back on track here. So you got to know that if you're not having success right now, you got to be doing phone sales, because that's the difference between making money and not making money most of the time. Once you've got that in mind, you do yourself a big, big favor on your PMAX campaigns if you would only run that PMAX campaign during hours where you can actually answer the phone. And there's more to it than that. I'm going to get into in a minute. And this works because unlike, like we manage e-commerce campaigns at our firm, service companies campaigns at our firm, in service businesses, as a side, people want to run their ads during business hours so they can answer the phone. If you're running a pest control company, they want to run their ads at a time when people can answer the phone. Well, so does half the other companies in that area that you're competing against. So what happens? The cost of running the ads during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, is much higher per click than it is during the weekends. So whereas you're going to be more likely to make a sale, so while you're way more likely to get the person on the phone, therefore convert at a much higher rate during business hours, the cost per click is so much higher. Effectively, it's a wash. The cost per opportunity or cost per sale, effectively, or ROI, is same during business hours as it is during weekends. The market has just, done its, the free market's done its work. The value of a click during business hours is now set based upon what it naturally is worth for the most part, as it is on the weekends. Cost per lead looks cheaper on the weekends, but it doesn't convert into a sale at the same rate as during business hours. So therefore, if you were in a service market, you should just run your ads all the time. In e-commerce, though, that's not the case. Nobody's talking about running your ads during business hours on e-commerce. Why? Because their website takes orders all the time. So the average Joe that's running an e-commerce site doesn't know anything about what I'm telling you about, which is why there's an opportunity here for you. Your cost per click is going to be the same during business hours as it is on the weekends, but because you can answer the phone during the week, potentially, unless you answer the phone all day long, 7 days a week, and even if you do overnights, you got to sleep sometime, and very few, I'm assuming almost nobody watching this has people that answer the phone overnight. Effectively, you do yourself a favor running your ads at the times you can't answer the phone, because the likelihood that they're going to convert into a sale if it's a time when you can answer the phone versus you can't, it's literally double or roughly thereof. So therefore, if you just want to double your ROI, just run your ad during the time on PMAX, run your PMAX campaign during the times you can answer the phone. Now there's some caveats to that, like I said, and I'll explain that in just a second here, but you'll typically double a PMAX campaign's ROI or search campaigns if you want to add that in there, but especially PMAX, because with PMAX, people can see the product and the price. That person's more likely to buy right away than somebody who clicks on a search ad. Search ads are more people that are looky-loo type people, even though they're still profitable. It's just not as qualified of traffic as shopping ads, effectively, through running PMAX. Which, by the way, if you want to know how to run a PMAX campaign the most effective way possible, you run something called a feed-only PMAX campaign that I talk about on this channel many times. You can look up my video about feed-only campaigns, which essentially just get your ad to run on shopping placement, which and runs a lot better than what standard shopping campaigns can do. So we'll run all of our shopping placements on PMAX with the feed-only setup. But then in addition to that, we're going to run the campaign only during hours that our client can answer the phone or the businesses that we own and run. And because you'll get twice the ROI. If we're getting already a great ROI, then we don't restrict the campaign to just business hours only, of course. But like I said, if you're not getting the ROI you want a quick boost in your ROI, just run it during business hours when you're answering the phone. That's it. Or, effectively when you can answer the phone right away. So that's how you double the campaign ROI on your PMAX campaign for e-commerce businesses or e-commerce business that you may run. Now, the caveats here. In order to actually get the doubling in ROI, you got to make sure your phone number is clearly visible throughout your site, where in the places that customers will expect it. That means, and psychologically speaking, and when you're making a website, you don't want to make people think. The more they have to think, the less your conversion rate is going to be. So what you always want to do with website design to get the highest conversion rate possible is put things in the natural places that most people expect them to be. The phone number, they expect it to be top right of the page. That's where they're going to look by default. Of course, some people are going to look at the bottom of the page. You're going to put it there too. They also look on the Contact Us page. Put it there. With that said, if you do that, then there's no way nobody's going to not find your number right away, no matter who they are, once you got the number in those three places. Furthermore, you're going to want to put your business hours on your contact page, and then I also recommend putting your business hours right above your phone number in the top right part of your site in that spot, and then also down at the bottom of the page. Why? Because you want them to see your number and think, oh shit. Because what do they do when they see the number? They're about ready to call, and they say, oh shit, maybe it's past business hours. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Oh, they're probably not open, I'm not going to call. Versus eliminating that unknown certainty there that would which creates a friction in the process, and just put 7 to 7 Monday through Sunday. So they know right away when they're about ready to call, you're still open. And effectively, like I said, you're only running your PMAX campaign during those hours, so every single person who gets to the number is now going to call. With that said, and furthermore, by the way, there's more people than you think, and you probably obviously already know it running your e-commerce business for as long as you have. There's people who will try to call at 2 a.m. So the more business hours you have available, the better, because you'll get more time to run your campaign, like if you're using this strategy. But in general, your conversion rates will be higher because there's people that want to call weird hours. And having the hours there really helps the people that are off hours have the courage to call when they're at that last second of deciding, maybe I shouldn't call or whatever. Anyway, the last thing you want to do to get the doubling in ROI, and this is kind of this is certainly optional, but what I love doing is in the upper right hand, so let's say this is our website here. You have your phone number here, right? Let's say this is our phone number. I like to put like, Monday through Friday, 9 to 9. Or whatever, right above it, right? Furthermore, I'll put what looks like a big green LED underneath. Available now with a green LED there. Normally that kind of concept I pulled from people's websites that would do this for like live chat to indicate there's a live chat person available there. But this baby right here will actually significantly increase the amount of people calling by another 10 to 30%. Why? Because it just makes it even more stupidly simple for the person to realize that it's okay to call at whatever hours it is. But furthermore, it stands out. Their eye is drawn to this big, dumb green dot there, and then you look at it and you're like, what the hell? And then it says available now, then it sees the phone number. It gets more people to call and think about it. The more people who think about it, the more people are going to call. So I recommend that as well. So if you do all of that stuff combined, then you just restrict your ads to running during times where you can actually answer the phone, you should be able to double the ROI. The only time where you won't double your ROI on your PMAX campaign is if you were already answering the call 24 hours a day, then obviously you're not going to help yourself much. You might help yourself a little bit if you don't have the phone number in all the places and in all the ways that I said and how to do the phone number implementation on your site, but it's not going to double your ROI. It's maybe only give you a 50% bump or whatever. So this assumes that you got a phone number on your site. Certainly might just be in the places where it needs to be, but you're running your ads 24 hours a day and you really only answer the phone 10 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. And in that case, you can double your ROI, shutting off everything else, shutting off having the ads run anything else besides Monday through Saturday, for those 10 hours a day or what have you. Because the people that get to your site, even if they are qualified people that come to the site, like I said, it's all about knowing that the statistical likelihood somebody's going to buy after they call is much, much, much higher, and giving them and taking that away of your funnel will make the funnel less efficient every time. So maybe your funnel is efficient enough to work without all of the pieces there, but for a lot of you guys, you're not going to be able to get it to be efficient enough without that additional piece. That is the ability for that person to call. So, and I think I was going to mention one other thing about this. Effectively, I think that's pretty much it. In terms of what I can mention about this, in order to get make sure you get the doubling in ROI, this is the main process that I would go through. The more expensive your product is, the more this is going to give you results, because more of your sale is predicated on the fact that they call, and that call increasing the likelihood that they're going to buy, because that's just how it is. $1,000 item, the fact that you use this is going to, every time that they call versus a caller versus a non-caller, the gap in the conversion rate between the caller and the non-caller is going to be so much wider there than something that sells at $100. Because it's just how it is. It takes more of a decision to buy something that's higher priced, and they have less confidence about their decision the higher the price it is. And talking to that person increases their confidence and decreases anxiety about not making the right decision. So, and to sum all this up again, going full circle on this, I remember what I was going to say now. Think about what you're doing running ads to your site like a funnel where you're just trying to get people to call. It's not trying to get people to check out through the cart. That's a bonus. What you're really trying to do is get the right person to the site, so you're going to pretend like you only want to have them check out through the cart. And half of them probably will. The other half is going to call, and you're just going to, the idea is to get them on the site long enough so that they decide to call. Because you know if you got to call, you pretty much got them. Particularly if you get a decent phone salesperson who's not an idiot and knows that the product and consultatively sell that customer. So if they want to buy a car part or they want to buy shoes, they can ask them questions like, what are you using it for? Oh, what we really need is this, this, and this, because based upon your application, this, this, and this, and when you go ahead and do use the product, you could, to get the best results, this, this, and this. That's what leads to insanely high conversion rates once you got them on the call, and will take a 4-to-1 ROI that you have now to an 8-to-1 ROI. When you run your ads, when you have the ultimately the chance there where they actually have the option to call. So your funnel, just think of your funnel in summary like that phone is a part of the funnel, and you're trying to get them to the site to stick around long enough to have a question and then call, because that's how most e-commerce businesses that I see work. Unless you're talking about items that are 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, and that phone call is not necessarily a major part of the funnel, and when it is, it's for bigger orders anyway, bulk orders, whatever. But anything over 100 bucks, that phone is key, and the more the cost of the service or product, the more the phone component, or we're talking about e-commerce here, the product itself, the more expensive the product itself, the more that the phone is going to be a factor. If you're not even having a phone number on your site right now, you could verify what I'm saying simply by going through all your product sales, and you'll sell the cheapest ones at a much higher rate than the more expensive ones. And all you got to do to fix that is just to start doing what I'm talking about here and offering the phone sales. And once you do, you'll get the sales of the bigger items too. I know because I see people trying to do this. They don't want to do phone sales. Oh, it's too expensive. But your campaign's never going to be profitable if you don't do the phone sales. So you might as well just close up shop. If people all the time I talk to say, well, I'll invest when I start making money. That's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. You invest to make money. You don't invest once you start making money. Of course, we don't want to put forward stupid amounts of money into stuff that's only going to give us marginal return when we have less funds. But there's a certain minimum amount of work you got to do just to be able to get to the next level. And you got to be able to recognize when you're not going to get to the next level unless you do more. Otherwise, you just give up and close shop and get a job, because that's what your options are. But there's a lot of you guys that could be successful that have money to invest into making a better funnel, i.e. having a phone salesperson who's knowledgeable to answer the phone, that aren't willing to do it until they make more money, and the money would just be there if you just had the phone salesperson there, ready and able to answer people's calls. And then it would pay for itself. But you got to have the phone salesperson to get the money. If you don't have the phone salesperson, you're not going to get the money. So just don't think about things like, I need to get immediate return on something in order for it, basically, it would have an immediate return. That's not even the best way to say it. You just got to think that everything in business is a risk. You're trying to make gambles that will work. And small gambles if you can, but for something like this, I guarantee you it's going to get you more sales. So yes, it's expensive, but the little gimmicks that you're trying to do that could potentially work, that are cheap, those are all gambles. This is a for sure thing. You start offering phone sales on a product that's over 100 bucks, you're going to make more sales. Just do it. And if it doesn't quite get you the results you want, you tweak the process until it does. You can tweak the sales process, how you answer the phone, the script you use, All that can be worked on to where it works out mathematically. You just got to be willing to stay at it as if your life depended on it. And I won't go into the details on phone sales, but certainly how who answers the phone and how they answer it, that in itself will get, you can 5x the results on the calls that you get by understanding that stuff. So, but I'll leave it with that. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you would give the video a like and consider subscribing, as I have a lot of content on this channel that'll help you make a ton of money with e-commerce or any other type of business that you're trying to run, running ads online for your business. Why do I know that? Because I strategize ad accounts as my sole job for different clients that I manage accounts for. And I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a course seller. The stuff that works, I give to you on this channel directly. And therefore, it's the best information you can find basically online. If you like my work here, by the way, you can find my blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, as well as on my column at entrepreneur.com. If you are looking for the best ad manager that you're going to be able to find online, I'd love to be able to hear from you to see if we could potentially work together on your ad accounts. We do not charge fees at our agency until you get more sales results or more leads. Up front, that's our guarantee. The only catch is we've got to be able to know we can get results on your campaigns. But to know that, all you got to do is reach out to me at my firm at guaranteeppc.com. I'll look over your stuff for free. With that said, if you aren't looking for an agency, but you want results anyway on your end and you want to be managing your own account, that's fine. We have campaign templates where if we've worked in your industry before, you could just simply buy our ad templates and landing page templates that work for your industry and get copy-paste results for your account. We can tell you the results we got in your industry up front, and then with that, you would know exactly what you can get from that and literally cut out all the work and time it takes to figure out what works in your market and just apply it to your account. I highly recommend that if you're in an industry that we've worked in, and I've worked in 100+ industries before. So the chances are high that we've worked in your industry. We've got people taking our templates and starting other businesses with it, because when you start out with a winning sales funnel template, it's easy to make a business work. And selling leads and whatnot, and starting e-commerce businesses on the side. Anyway, if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to me. Lastly, if you are looking for an ad agency to work on your stuff, but you can't afford an ad agency necessarily, we'll work on your stuff totally for free. Just reach out, but the only catch is we got to be able to share what we are doing with your account on this channel. But if you're willing to do that, we'll work with you. You have to have at least $400,000 a year in sales volume already for us to do it. So know you have longevity in your business, because we do want to do a long-term case study. But if you do, reach out to us, and we'll consider doing a case study on this channel about your business, and then do your account build up totally for free. So with that said, ultimately, and there's a lot of cases where if you're looking for a business investor, I'll add this last thing here as well. We've been investing in e-commerce businesses and service businesses, but primarily e-commerce businesses, where if you don't want an ad agency, we'll take 10% or so of your sales growth and we'll work on your account for free as well. We've done this several times. If you're interested in that, we also do that as well. So guaranteeppc.com if you're interested in any one of those individual things that we offer. I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, by the way, leave me a comment below. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.